Hello everybody. Welcome to the stream where I am rather grumpy because Leeds United have played against Manchester City and I'll be honest, we did significantly better than I thought we would. Starting out in that first half, we were genuinely sparkling, had some honestly fantastic chances to go ahead time and time again. Ended up not happening. Ended up conceding a goal right before half time. I'll go through the match like bit by bit, sort of, in a little bit. And then we will get to the shenanigans, the nonsense, the madness, the how the hell has that happened? Because I firmly agree with what Michael says regarding the referee. There were some decisions that were made throughout that game, and I think they're worthy of talking about. But before we do all that, let me know how we're all doing. Let me know that everything is actually working. Am I audible? Is everything fine? If yes, fantastic. If no, that's not great. Let me know. But how are we all? It's been a while since I've done a stream, and I've kind of missed it, it kind of sucks. But you know what? I've got the chance to do a stream again, so I'm doing a stream again, which is absolutely wonderful. Yeah, I'm going to start with the sort of lineup because the lineup I was basically kind of completely happy with. Going into it, it was a case of, I think we're going to play a more defensive game because it's Man City and they are just going to cause us a lot of problems. And if we're not set up in a defensive manner, they're just going to come at us constantly. And they did, because that's what they do. They're one of the best teams in the league for a good reason. But that sort of 5-3-1-1 formation didn't play like the 5-3-1-1. Instead, it was more a sort of aggressive pressing thing early on in the first half where we would try and cause them problems. We know that Donnarumma's distribution isn't fantastic, so stay on top of it. Make sure that they're penned in. Absolutely wonderful, cause them a few issues. In addition to that, we had a case of, if we get the ball transition quickly, use the ball over the top, use a couple of nice balls in behind, such as the one that got to Calvert-Lewin, put him in on goal, and sadly Calvert-Lewin wasn't able to do anything with that opportunity, which kinda sucks. But let's be honest, that's far from the worst thing that happened in that game. It was 4 minutes in, and Calvert-Lewin had a beautiful opportunity, and that kind of set the tone for the game, in my opinion. Put us in the right direction, which I'm not going to complain about in the slightest. That's the kind of thing that we needed to see. We needed that bit of early momentum, and we needed to be able to keep it going, and we did, with more chances on the 17th minute, the 18th minute, the 21st, which was the Brendan Aronson one, where I think he should have tried to slip it underneath the goalkeeper. Didn't work out. Again, a little bit of a shame. But he did what he could with it, which you can't really blame him for. And then, it felt like we kind of ran low on energy. It felt like things slowed down a little bit. It felt like it got a little bit plodding and a bit laboured, which meant that we dropped back a little bit. I chatted with Joe at half time over on his watch along on Big Up. And he sort of took the point of view of, he wanted us to be a bit more aggressive in the press and make sure that they didn't have the space to play in front of us. Whereas I was a little bit understanding of the idea that we've done that, nice, then we're out of energy, which means that if you close up a little bit, put the midfield back to the defensive line, then they've not got space to play between you, which, fair enough, two different perspectives on it, all completely good. Which worked out really nicely until their fourth shot of the game, in which Antoine Semenyo sneaks in at the near post, which, that's going to happen from time to time. I don't know why Thomas's comment isn't coming up on the live chat thing, so I'm going to try and fix that. Hold on. So if I go to that and I go to there, no, that's not working. Right, okay. I'll see if I can refresh it in a minute. But Semenyo pops up at the back post. Immediate problems, not dealt with properly, and it kind of meant that they managed to just slide the ball into the back of the net, which was rubbish. Hated that aspect of it. But it was kind of coming, because we'd invited them on a little bit, and then it came to the second half, and you're kind of thinking, right, okay, well, let's see what we can do now. And we got more opportunities, but this is where the annoying thing comes in. And the annoying thing is a very, very nice way of saying the referee. Because, oh, buddy, did the referee have some choices to make in this game, and oh, buddy, did he get every single one of them wrong. Now, just to check, by the way, to try and make sure that things are actually working. If you are watching right now and you are on a desktop or mobile, can you just spam the number 1 into the chat just to see if the chat stuff is populating at all? Because if it's not, I'll just get rid of it. That'll make a little bit more sense. But it would be good to know. Okay, I see them here. I will see if I see them over there. Okay, it just doesn't like Thomas. Wonderful. Sorry, guys. Thank you, Corin, and Philip, and Michael, and Matthew, and Tristan. But then we get to the annoying part, right? And the annoying part is the fact that I'll run through it in chronological order. And thank you, Stuart. And going through it chronologically, right? I'm going to pull up this tweet because I think it's the perfect way of showing it. And hopefully this doesn't get me copy striked because that would be bad. But you know what? I've got to show it. First up is this decision that I think was very, very interesting. I'm going to resize that so it fits in the right box. There we go. That will do. Now, from this point, you're like, okay, cool. He's scooping the ball out. That's nice. And from this point, the natural momentum of your foot is bringing it forward so you can put it down here. You've nicely turned around. In addition to this, to be clear, the ball is dead. You have no reason to try and move the ball at this point. The ball is dead and it's not yours. So he's like, oh, okay, I'll scoop the ball out. And this is where he gets to be a little bit of a naughty boy, isn't it, Ryan Cherky? Comes back and bang. And you can tell, like, he's actively sped his foot up on the way down. Bang. He's just stomped on Ilya Gruev. And my favourite little part of this is that in finding, like, the post for it, because I was looking for, like, as many ways of actually looking at this as I could just to look back and be like, am I insane? Or was this definitely a red card? And apparently the referee gives him a telling off afterwards. And it's kind of like, okay, you want to know the ultimate way of telling someone off for that? The ultimate way of doing that is you give him a red card. You send him off. You say, no, you're not allowed on this pitch anymore because very clearly you've stamped on a guy. And the general rule for a red card is, have you endangered an opponent? What are we calling endangered an opponent if not whack? Like, come on, this is the most... You are winning. Playing for one of the best teams in the country. You are relatively comfortable at this point, because this is before we started piling the pressure back on. And you're doing this? Okay, it's completely needless. Prick. And then you get on to, a little bit later in the match, the other decision. The other controversial one. Where, and here, ball's coming in, this is fine. This is whatever. Cool, 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 nice, nice, nice. Now, if I'm in this position, yeah, and I've seen an argument from a couple of people that are like, yeah, it's a natural position because he's trying to fend off Calvert-Lewin. Cool. If we want to run through the number of times where Anton Stach is cuddled with 2 arms at throw-ins, one of my favourite moments of the match is where Bernardo Silva throws himself to the floor at one of our corners, and it turns out the reason that he's done that is he's tried to rugby tackle Ethan Ampadu and missed. And he's like, look at what Ampadu did to me. Ampadu did shit to you. You just fell over. You are a weak, weak man. Stay on your feet. But ball comes in, and you're like, okay, cool. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but is this arm not, at this point, by his side, and a moment later, up here, bang. Now, I'm going to ask the chat to do the useful send 1 or send 2 thing again, because it's a really good way of polling people. Pop a 1 in the chat if you think that is a handball and has been given many times this season. Pop a 2 in the chat if you think that according to the current Premier League rules, that's just not a penalty. Because you might be of the opinion, yeah, I don't think that's handball because I just don't have that opinion. And that's fine, that's okay. but you're not the one that sets the precedent. The precedent is set by the league and previous referees who give that every day of the week, except today, because why would they give it today? It's such. It feels so blatant sometimes. The fact that you're like, okay, so there's several decisions here. Every single one has gone in Man City's favour, and it's been pointed out that in recent weeks, Rodri did that thing where he had a chat. Well, not had a chat, but he basically said the referees are screwing us in the Premier League, and it's like, okay, cool. Say that if you like. Bit weird to come out with, but if you want to have that opinion, you can have that opinion. Said opinion has, in the weeks since, led repeatedly to Man City having decisions going their way. And it feels like more and more and more it's starting to feel like the Premier League, like, oh, we need a title race here. And you can't, like, City are the chasing team, and if they win this, they're within 2 points, and if they don't win this, then it's still more than a game's worth. And if we can make Man City versus Arsenal this big title deciding game, that'd be fantastic. And it feels like everything that's a 50-50 goes their way. That's a hell of a question right here. Where was VAR in either of these decisions? Like, maybe there's an argument with the handball. Maybe you can look at that and say, it's not clear and obvious. You can't really decide whether he's done it on purpose, so it's a bit of a question mark. The stamp isn't a question. The stamp is he's kicked the ball away when he's not needed to. In addition to that, kicking the ball away in the first place. Where's the yellow card? Because it's a set piece and you've kicked the ball away from an opponent. Whatever. But even if you're not giving that, surely VAR has a look and goes, no, he's clearly stamped on him. That consequences, please. And it's starting to feel like more and more and more there's this stacked deck that you're coming up against that is designed for the sides that are very much at the top and very much sort of trying to dance their way into the winning the league title. They're just getting away with whatever they want. And it's sort of insulting. In addition to that, I forgot to mention the aspect with wherever that sentence was going, the time wasting. If you give 2 yellow cards, which they did, for time wasting, you would think, okay, you've wasted a bit of time, let's add that on at the end. 13 seconds is the amount that was added on by the referee at the end, and that includes all of the time that he was like, take the throw in from the right place, go on. So in reality, he added nothing, and it was just a joke. In terms of good performances, I think the majority of our team did very, very well. Just to be completely open and clear about that, I think there were very few players that made a lot of mistakes. I think Ampadu was maybe a little bit off at points. Especially big shout out in the direction of Caldalo on the Ramadan thing. It's weird. I kind of get looking after player welfare because that makes a hell of a lot of sense. But I would have just moved the kickoff back a little bit so it's not interrupting the game. This way it actively affected the flow of a match. But yeah, I don't mind people being able to break their fast during a match. Like, it's fine. It doesn't matter. It's okay. Be respectful of people's religions, but I think there were better ways of doing it in this instance. Caldalo, though, absolutely ridiculous. Good save in the first half where the ball is he's coming across this way to get to the right side of his net. Ball's headed sort of back here, and it's, get rid. Slink, if you keep talking about disrespecting people because of their beliefs, I'm going to disrespect your right to be in the chat because we're a sort of inclusive gang here. Let's not be a dick. Another really impressive one for Darlow was, I think it was a corner. It's flicked on from the front post towards Gay at the back post. And Gay, fair play to him, the header is incredible. It's nestling itself right in the corner, and somehow Darlow scrambles across, gets a hand on it, pads it clear. I think it's going to be a bit of a mistake if it comes to the summer and we've not at the very least offered Carl Darlow a new contract, because I feel like Darlow still has a very, very high ceiling to be reached. And if he doesn't reach that ceiling, then I would be surprised. I say that I think he's at the ceiling already, but stay at the ceiling, you know. And in addition to that, like, it'd be good to see him at the World Cup if he's able to get there. That'd be quite nice. I did learn another fun fact as well. If at the World Cup the USA and Iran both come second place in their groups, they play each other in the round of 16, which is going to be hilarious to see what happens in that instance. Farke was right to go over to the referee. Yeah, the referee was awful. And the extra annoying part on that is when you get Arteta doing it all match and being in the fourth official's ear constantly, then everyone's like, oh, it's fine, he just does that. When Guardiola does it, it's fine, he does that. When it's Mourinho, it's fine, it's just Mourinho things, you know, he's outspoken. When Daniel Farke does it, he doesn't even get to the referee before the referee has presented his card. I imagine Daniel Farke has barely set off and the red card's in his hand because he was so desperate. He was so desperate. Slink, again, be the slightest bit respectful. As Matthew said, got no problem with it. Leeds agreed to it before the match. Chill out. Let's be a bit respectful. I don't know. There's a thin line. Thank you, Johnny Fenton. But there's a thin line between incompetent and corrupt. And I'm going to lean on the side of incompetent. We are that's not words, Slink. You know that's not words. Irritating. Graham Smith has released a thing saying the Premier League explanation for VAR penalty view in the Leeds versus Man City clash. Let's have a look at what they say. Premier League said that VAR's view on the incident was that Man City man's arm was in a natural position, so there was no need to ask Peter Banks to take a nut. His arm was in a natural position. A natural position. It's very rare that I'm just walking around and I'm like, oh, my arm's up here. Here it is. That's not how natural positions work. That's not how that goes. But that's fine. Again, Slink, chill it out, yeah? Let's not. I wonder if they said anything else on the other decisions, including the red card that was seemingly not checked. Oh my god. Okay. So I'm going to go back over to here. Banks' decision to end the game without adding on more time, despite giving yellow cards during the minimum 6 minutes that were added on, infuriated Daniel Farke. We know this. We know. That obviously pissed Daniel Farke off, which it would and it should. Farke was then restrained by Ethan Ampadu as he made further complaints. The Leeds boss was unhappy in the second half when Cherky appeared to stamp on Ilya Gruev. Not just appeared to, did. We have seen this. But the officials did not deem it violent conduct or indeed worthy of a card of any colour. And then the free kick given against Gabby Goodmanson in the City box late on in the game also incensed Farke because it was soft as shit. The red card meant Farke was not allowed to take post-match press duties, and instead Edmund Reamer stepped up, explaining that Farke's full-time reaction was an emotional one based on frustration of the referee's time management. He also expressed disappointment with the decision to send Farke off rather than issue a yellow card. Right, that's a good point as well, right? All game, you've had Bernardo Silva bitching in your ear and screaming. There were a couple of points where I took screenshots of 4 or 5 City players ploughing into the ref and going, you need to listen to us because this is our opinion, and our opinion is the only one that counts. Just relentlessly, they would do that non-stop. But, and this is the bit that I'm trying to compute, the moment that happens with Daniel Farke post-match, it's like, nah, off your foot. You don't get to referee next match either. Interestingly as well, right, and this is bizarre to me, why don't you get to do press duties if you've been sent off? Is that just a case of... Because, like, surely if he's been sent off because he has a strong opinion, from the press perspective, you want to know what that strong opinion is because you have to. Because you're the press and that's your thing. Game Scream corruption. Again, I'm not going corruption, I'm going incompetence. But there's a few different arguments for it. Christianity is the first religion in the UK. Muslim players who play here should alter the time they break their fast, not the FA or clubs. I mean, it's, again, both clubs agreed to it. Like, I'm not... If you head over to a different country and think, I want to celebrate Christmas, they're not going to be like, well, you're in Dubai, so no tree for you. Like, be a little bit more open to people and their opinions, because it's fine. At the end of the day, that didn't make the difference, the referee did. But I think stopping managers from doing post-match press because they've been sent off is a little bit nuts. I cannot understand that in any way, shape or form. But that's fun. Anyway, I'm going to take us over to Questions Corner quickly. Oh, it's up there. So if you got any questions or anything, any big talking points, throw them in my general direction. We can have a little bit of a natter about it. I'm going to end stream relatively soon because I have work in 4 hours or so, and I'm going to get a little bit of a nap in, which should be quite fun. But yeah, ultimately, I think we played well. There are many worlds in which we have a better outcome than that, and it wasn't our fault that we didn't. I think we got a little bit screwed at several points there. But it is what it is. And if anything, it's a positive for Sunderland, because you're looking at that now and you're going, oh, cool, we can genuinely put in a pretty fucking strong performance. And the performance matters a lot of the time. Do you think Grove starts against Sunderland after that performance? I don't see why not. Because I think he was genuinely solid in that match. I'm not going to complain about Grove. I think it would make sense for him to play. Depending on what we want to do tactically. If we want to be a little bit more aggressive and we want to maybe do 2 wingers and striker, then there's a little bit of a question mark. There's a sort of query as to, do you do Stack, Ampadu, maybe someone a little bit more progressive? But I don't really see the problem with Ilya Gruev after that match. I think he did quite well. I think Gruev was solid but got frustrated with Shirky for obvious reasons. Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, I've not even talked about the James Justin thing, where he's visibly bleeding from both of his socks, and yet at the same time, the challenge that made him bleed from his socks was him fouling somebody, apparently. It's like, this is, there we go. If we pull this up, this one, there we go. No, but the incident that led to this is very obviously James Justin doing the fouling, right? Okay. If we're sure. I'm not convinced, but the referee seemed to be, which is all that we need, because once he's convinced, he's not going to change his mind in the slightest, is he? But yeah, I think Gruev we potentially see again. I don't know who might have knocks, who might be injured ahead of the match against Sunderland. I don't know if there'll be time for a presser. Typically, it's done 48 hours beforehand. In this instance, that would make it Sunday. Odds are you're not going to get a Sunday press conference. Maybe Monday. But I think it's just going to be a case of we don't have one going into the match against Sunderland. And that's okay. That's fine. That's not really a problem. But yeah, I think we've been a little bit screwed on that one. Would have been nice to come out of that with a point, because that would put us 7 clear of West Ham. But I will be honest, a performance like that, being 6 points clear and being in a position than them, being in a better position than them, sorry, is sort of what we need at the moment. If Peter Bank is incompetent, then which ref is competent because I haven't seen a single one of our matches? That's kind of the problem. I I even grew up all these fans were booing. Yeah, and booing isn't necessarily the best thing to do, is it? Following the crowd, not the best when the crowd is not really performing too great. Joe, would you make any changes to the lineup for Sunderland if we don't have any injuries, of course? I would put Brendy on the wing and potentially start a winger as well. Nonto or James, probably Nonto. I think Nonto did pretty well. So it'd be a sort of Gudmundsson, 3 centre-backs, depending on who's fit, because Rodon tweaked his hamstring. Bogle on the right. Then Stack, Ampadu in the middle. Then Aronson, Nonto behind DCL is the way that I'd do it for Sunderland. Gives us something a little bit more attacking, which I think we could do with. And I think we'll get something against Sunderland. I'll be surprised if we don't, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, I'm going to end that stream there. I hope you all enjoyed. I enjoyed the game. Didn't end how we wanted it to, but it was nice enough. I will potentially do a stream tomorrow, depending on how awake I'm feeling. Maybe Monday or Tuesday. I'm going to try and get better at doing streams more again, because Baby is now in a bit of a pattern, which is quite good. In addition to that, I'm going to aim to get doing the daily videos more as well, because I like doing daily videos. They make me feel like I've got some form of consistency going on. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, pop a like on the stream. Subscribe if you're not yet. That's always absolutely wonderful. I think we're still near 7,500. And you can become a channel member as well, where you get a bunch of videos relatively early. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you later.